Every year, the CDC reports thousands of grocery recalls across the United States. Some are small, a single lot pulled quietly from shelves. Others involve millions of pounds of food that people had already bought, cooked, and served to their families. And here's the surprising part. Many of these items are everyday products that most households trust and keep in their kitchens week after week. Some of them are still sold in stores today, even after being tied to serious recalls. Others are foods you'd never expect to be on a list of things to avoid. They're brands people have relied on for decades. Yet the truth behind them often looks very different once you dig into the recalls, the additives, and the labeling. In one case, a batch of canned chili was recalled after people had already ended up in the ER just for eating a product they trusted. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness, about knowing what's in your cart and understanding the risks before you take them home. This is BizWorld Explorer, uncovering the hidden truths behind everyday food brands, so you know what's safe to eat and what could be secretly putting you at risk. We upload new investigations every single day, so hit subscribe and stay informed before your next trip to the store. We've set the stage with the recalls and the risks. Now, let's take a closer look at the brands themselves, the ones sitting in freezers, fridges, and pantries across America. Some of these names might surprise you, and others you might have bought just this week. Let's start with the first one, Perdue Chicken Strips. According to the CDC, poultry is the #1 source of salmonella outbreaks in the United States. It's not rare. It's a problem that keeps coming up year after year. And one of the biggest names in chicken is Perdue. Many families buy their breaded chicken strips for quick dinners or easy lunches. They're marketed as fully cooked, ready to heat and serve, perfect for kids or busy nights. But the problem is, Perdue has faced multiple recalls tied to these strips. Some batches were found to be undercooked, raising the risk of dangerous bacteria surviving in the product. Other recalls were linked to contamination concerns, including pieces of unwanted material in the breading. For families, that's a serious issue. If salmonella slips through, it can cause weeks of illness. Children, older adults, and anyone with health conditions are the most at risk. And because these products are sold as fully cooked, many people don't think twice about heating them lightly, making the danger even greater. So, what's the safer choice? Instead of relying on a frozen bag, you can buy fresh chicken tenders from the butcher or meat counter. Season them at home, bake or air fry them, and you'll know they're cooked all the way through. It takes just a few extra minutes, but the peace of mind is worth it. And Perdue isn't the only trusted name with hidden risks. The next brand takes us straight into the smoked meat aisle. And what's inside might not be as safe as the label suggests. Hillshire Farm Smoked Sausage. The USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service has flagged a serious issue in recent years. Listeria recalls in ready-to-eat meats. And one of the most recognizable names tied to this category is Hillshire Farm. Smoked sausage is often seen as a safer choice. Many people assume the smoking process kills off harmful bacteria. The packages are labeled fully cooked, so it feels like all you need to do is heat them up, or even slice and serve them cold. But that confidence can be misleading. FSIS recall notices show that smoked meats, including Hillshire Farm sausages, have been linked to potential listeria contamination. Listeria is especially dangerous because it thrives in cold storage. That means even when these products are kept in the fridge, the bacteria can continue to grow. For most healthy adults, it may cause food poisoning symptoms. But for those with health conditions, pregnant women, newborns, and older adults, the risks can be much more serious. That's why these recalls make headlines. They remind us that smoked doesn't always mean safe. So what's the safer option? Skip the prepackaged smoked sausages and look for fresh sausage links at the butcher or meat counter. Cook them thoroughly at home, and you'll know exactly how they're prepared. Would you still keep this in your fridge after hearing this? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more. And next, we'll move from sausage to ground beef, one of the most common items in grocery carts, but also one of the top recall triggers for dangerous E. coli. Kroger ground beef. Ground beef is one of the most common items in American grocery carts. It's affordable, versatile, and sold in big family packs at stores like Kroger. But according to the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service, ground beef is also one of the top products linked to E. coli recalls. The reason? Grinding beef mixes bacteria from the surface of the meat throughout the package. If just one part is contaminated, the whole batch is at risk. And when that beef is sold in bulk under store brands like Kroger, a single recall can involve tens of thousands of pounds. Over the years, Kroger's store brand ground beef has faced multiple recalls tied to E. coli contamination. For families, this poses a real risk. Cooking ground beef to the right temperature can kill bacteria, but many people prepare burgers medium or even medium rare, which leaves the door open for E. coli to survive. The consequences of an outbreak can be serious, especially for children, older adults, and those with health conditions. E. coli infections can cause lasting kidney problems in some cases, making these recalls a major concern. So, what's the safer choice? Instead of buying large pre-ground packs, look for whole cuts of beef and have them ground fresh at the butcher counter, or grind them at home in a food processor. It takes just a few extra minutes, but can greatly reduce the risk, since you know exactly where your meat came from. Ground beef may be a weekly staple, but it isn't the only pantry favorite with hidden dangers. Up next, we'll look at a canned classic that millions of families keep for quick meals, and the surprising risk linked to botulism. Hormel canned chili. Canned foods are often seen as one of the safest options on grocery shelves. They last for years, they're easy to store, and they make for a quick meal. But according to the FDA, failures in the canning process have been linked to botulism alerts in the U.S. Hormel canned chili is one of the most popular choices in this category. Families keep it stocked for fast dinners, camping trips, or emergencies. But the risk comes from the very process that makes it convenient. If a can isn't sealed or sterilized correctly, harmful bacteria like Clostridium botulinum can survive inside. That's the same bacteria that produces the deadly toxin responsible for botulism. And even when properly canned, there's another concern: extremely high sodium levels. Just one serving of canned chili can contain close to half the recommended daily limit. For anyone watching their heart health, that adds up quickly. So what's the safer choice? Instead of relying on the can, you can make a batch of homemade chili with fresh ingredients. Divide it into portions, freeze what you don't eat, and it's just as convenient, without the same risks or the sodium overload. Do you trust canned foods after this? Let me know. And hit subscribe for more food investigations. And speaking of convenience foods, the next brand takes us into the freezer aisle, where a classic comfort meal has faced its own hidden risks with undeclared allergens. Stouffer's frozen lasagna. Frozen meals are meant to make life easier. You just pop them in the oven, and dinner is ready without much effort. But the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service has flagged a major problem in this category: undeclared allergens in frozen products. Stouffer's frozen lasagna is one of the best-known comfort foods in the freezer aisle. Families rely on it for weeknight dinners, holidays, or potlucks. But in recent years, Stouffer's products have been recalled for mislabeling issues. Packages that left out key allergens like dairy or soy on the ingredient list. For someone with food allergies, that kind of mistake can be dangerous. Even trace amounts of milk, wheat, or soy can trigger severe reactions. And because lasagna contains layers of cheese, pasta, and sauces, it's easy for labeling mistakes to slip through unnoticed. The risk is highest for households with children or adults who have allergies. A quick dinner that's supposed to be safe can turn into a serious health scare. So what's the safer option? If you enjoy lasagna, try making a homemade batch with fresh ingredients. Portion it into freezer-safe containers, and you'll have the same convenience, without worrying about hidden allergens or confusing labels. And frozen lasagna isn't the only comfort food with hidden surprises. Up next, we'll take a closer look at one of the most popular sausage brands in America, and the recalls that revealed something far worse than bad seasoning. Johnsonville Brats. Johnsonville is one of the most popular sausage brands in America. Their brats are a top choice for cookouts, parties, and family meals. But even this trusted brand has been pulled from shelves after problems showed up in USDA recall reports, objects inside the sausages that don't belong there. In past recalls, Johnsonville Brats were found to have pieces of plastic, rubber, and even metal inside. These are dangerous because they can break a tooth, cut your mouth, or cause injury if swallowed. This usually happens when machines at the factory break or wear down. Tiny parts can fall into the meat, and if it isn't caught in time, it gets packaged and sold in stores. That's when large recalls are announced. So what's the safer choice? Skip the big brand brats and go for fresh sausages from the butcher or meat counter. They're made with fewer steps, and you'll know exactly what you're buying. And if something as simple as sausage can hide plastic or metal, what about frozen meals that are sold as a healthier choice? Up next, we'll look at a popular diet brand that has faced recalls for the same issue: plastic inside the food. Would you risk eating this at your next cookout? Drop a comment and tell me what you think. And remember, we upload every single day, so subscribing means you won't miss the next hidden food risk we uncover. Lean Cuisine Meals. Nestlé. Lean Cuisine is one of the most popular diet frozen meal brands in the US. Many people buy it because it seems like a lighter, healthier option. But being labeled as healthy doesn't always mean safe. In fact, Lean Cuisine meals have been recalled in the past for foreign material contamination, specifically pieces of plastic inside the food. For a brand that markets itself as careful with nutrition, this shows how even better-for-you products can have hidden risks. Plastic in food is more than just unpleasant. It can break a tooth, scratch your throat, or even cause choking. And because these meals are eaten quickly, often at work or school, people may not notice the danger until it's too late. So what's the safer choice? Instead of frozen diet meals, you can make your own portioned dishes at home with fresh ingredients. Cook once, divide into containers, and freeze. That way, you still get quick, ready-to-go meals without the risk of finding plastic inside. And it's not just frozen meals that carry hidden risks. Even foods as familiar as hot dogs, sold by some of the most trusted brands in America, have been recalled for surprising reasons, from foreign objects to dangerously high sodium levels. Hebrew National Hot Dogs. Hot dogs are about as classic as it gets in American food. Ball games, cookouts, quick family dinners, Hebrew National is one of the most trusted names in the aisle. But even a brand this well-known has faced serious problems. In past USDA recall reports, Hebrew National hot dogs were pulled from shelves because they might contain foreign objects like bone fragments and pieces of plastic. For a food that's supposed to be soft and easy to eat, that's a real concern. Biting into something hard can break a tooth, cut your mouth, or even cause choking. There's another issue too: sodium. Hot dogs are one of the highest salt processed meats you can buy. A single serving can pack nearly half of the daily recommended limit. And let's be honest, most people eat more than just one hot dog. Over time, that much sodium can put extra stress on the heart and kidneys. So, what's the safer choice? Look for nitrate-free or lower sodium hot dogs, which are now carried by many grocery chains. Or, for even more peace of mind, buy fresh sausages from the butcher counter. You'll get the same flavor and convenience, without the risk of biting into something that shouldn't be there. And while hot dogs are a classic pantry item, they're not the only packaged food with concerns. Even familiar boxed meals, ones many people grew up eating, can hide risks of their own, especially when it comes to sodium and additives. If this is surprising so far, hit that like button. It helps get this video to more families who need to hear this. Velveeta Shells and Cheese, Kraft. Velveeta Shells and Cheese is one of the most familiar boxed meals in America. Many families keep it in the pantry for quick dinners, busy nights, or as a side dish that kids love. It's marketed as creamy, comforting, and convenient. But there are some hidden concerns inside that bright yellow box. The FDA has raised warnings about high sodium levels in processed cheese products, and Velveeta stands out as a major example. A single serving can contain close to half of the daily recommended limit. And let's be honest, most people eat more than one small serving at a time. That means one box can easily push someone past their daily sodium intake in just one meal. Too much sodium doesn't just make you thirsty. Over time, it can raise blood pressure and put added strain on the heart and kidneys. For anyone watching their health, that's a problem worth paying attention to. There's also the issue of what Velveeta actually is. Unlike natural cheese, Velveeta relies heavily on preservatives, emulsifiers, and other additives to stay smooth, bright, and shelf-stable. It looks and tastes like cheese, but it's not the same as the fresh dairy you'd find at the counter. So what's the safer choice? Try making your own version at home. Cook some pasta and mix it with freshly shredded cheese or a simple homemade sauce using milk and butter. It takes only a few minutes longer, but you'll know exactly what's in it, and you can control the sodium. And pantry staples like Velveeta aren't the only foods that can hide risks. Even frozen pizzas, sold under some of the biggest names in grocery stores, have faced recalls for undeclared allergens and mislabeling that left shoppers unaware of what they were really eating. DiGiorno Frozen Pizza. DiGiorno is one of the most famous frozen pizza brands in the country. Many families rely on it as a quick dinner that tastes close to delivery. It's a staple in freezers everywhere. But even with its popularity, DiGiorno has faced some serious problems in recent years. The USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service has reported recalls tied to undeclared allergens and mislabeling in DiGiorno pizzas. In some cases, pizzas were packaged with the wrong ingredients inside. For example, a pepperoni pizza that actually contained sausage. That may not sound like a big deal at first, but for someone with a meat allergy or dietary restriction, it can be dangerous. Even more concerning are the undeclared allergens. Some DiGiorno products have been recalled because they contained ingredients like soy or milk that were not listed properly on the label. For people with food allergies, eating even a small amount of those hidden ingredients can trigger a serious reaction. Beyond recalls, frozen pizzas like DiGiorno are also known for being high in sodium, saturated fat, and preservatives. A single serving can contain more than half the daily sodium limit, and most people eat more than one slice. That makes it less of a quick dinner and more of a hidden health risk over time. So, what's the safer choice? If you enjoy pizza, consider using fresh dough from the deli or bakery section of your store. Add your own toppings, vegetables, lean meats, and fresh cheese. Not only is it healthier, but you'll also know exactly what's on your pizza. DiGiorno may be one of the biggest names in frozen food, but it's a reminder that even the most trusted brands can carry risks. And now that we've gone through 10 of the most well-known grocery items, it's time to step back and look at the bigger picture. How small swaps in your shopping cart can make a big difference for your health and safety. Safer swaps and smarter shopping. We've covered a lot of well-known brands, and each one came with its own problem. But the good news is, there are simple swaps that make your grocery cart safer without making shopping harder. For meats like chicken strips, sausages, and hot dogs, the safer choice is often fresh cuts from the butcher or meat counter. You can season and cook them yourself, knowing they're fully done and free from unwanted extras. For deli meats, canned foods, and frozen meals, it helps to read labels closely and look for options that are nitrate-free, lower in sodium, or clearly marked for allergens. If the packaging looks confusing, it's usually better to leave it behind. For ground beef, the best step is to buy whole cuts and have them ground fresh, either at the butcher counter or at home. It takes only a little more time but lowers the risk of contamination. And when it comes to convenience foods like frozen meals or boxed pasta, try to make your own versions at home in batches. Cooking once and dividing into portions gives you the same quick meal, but with fresher ingredients and fewer additives. Finally, keep an eye on recall alerts. The USDA and FDA post updates regularly, and knowing what's been pulled from shelves can help you avoid risky products before they end up in your kitchen. These swaps aren't about giving up your favorite meals, they're about taking back control of what goes on your plate. Before we wrap up, the point of this isn't to scare you, it's to help you shop smarter. Even the biggest, most trusted brands have had recalls and hidden risks. That doesn't mean you should stop buying everything in the grocery store. It means knowing what to look for and where small changes can make a big difference. Simple swaps, like choosing fresh meats instead of heavily processed ones, or checking labels for sodium and allergens, are easy steps to keep your family safer. Cooking at home, portioning meals ahead of time, and paying attention to recall alerts are all practical ways to cut risks without giving up convenience. The truth is, food should bring comfort, not worry. And while we can't control everything, we can take control of what we put in our carts. By being aware of the recalls, the additives, and the hidden risks, you can make choices that give you peace of mind at the dinner table. At the end of the day, it's not about avoiding every brand. It's about being an informed shopper. Because the more you know, the safer you eat. So now that we've uncovered these hidden risks, which grocery item shocked you the most? Was it a freezer favorite you've bought before, or a pantry staple you thought was completely safe? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what stood out to you. And if you want to keep learning the truth about the foods we bring home every day, make sure to subscribe. We upload new investigations daily, so you'll always know what's really safe to eat and what could be secretly putting you at risk.